come up and deliver her first inaugural address. The way we will go about the inaugural, Shormishtha will speak, Sundar Ramam, my friend, Head of Corporate Services for Tata Steel, our visionary title sponsors, Sundar will say a few words. Atul Srivastav, again, somebody I know for a long time, will say a few words. We'll water the plant, we'll get going with the first session, which will have Muthu, which will have Pulela Gopichand, Anju Bobby George, Joshna Chinappa, and will be moderated by Ashok and Gargi. So that's the first 45 odd minutes. Let's get going. Shormishtha Guttu on stage to give your opening remarks. Trailblazers 4.0, it's real.
Good morning, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome each one of you to this day of the Tata Steel Trailblazers 4.0 conclave. Some of you were there on the 14th. I have already mentioned some of these points before. This is the 4th year that we are organizing the Trailblazers Conclave, and every year the conclave has gotten bigger and better thanks to the support of our sponsors, partners, and each one of you who have kept faith in us. Now, what is the Trailblazers Conclave all about? Why is it Trailblazers? If you look at the schedule on the board, can we please have the schedule on the board for today and tomorrow for the Trailblazers Conclave? So if you see the schedule here, you will see that while we have a lot of stars, we have a World Cup winning coach later today, just the pre-lunch session. This will be his first public appearance after winning the World Cup. So while we have a Mithali Raj or a Gautam Gambhir or a Sania Mirza or a Zahir Khan or a Harbhajan Singh, Trailblazers is not only about that. Trailblazers is not only about the stars. Trailblazers talks about a lot of structural issues. Trailblazers creates new discourse. Let me talk about women in Trailblazers. This time, the Trailblazers Conclave has a 50% representation of women and more. By way of the speakers, yes. By way of speakers and athletes, we've tried to build up to this every year. So this year, while we have our male cricketers, we also have a Mithali Raj, we have a Sneh Rana, we have a Vaishnavi Sharma. We are trying to represent we're trying to carry representation across the sporting spectrum, whether it's, between men and women cricketers, whether it's between able-bodied and para. So I don't know if anyone has ever placed Neeraj Chopra, India's greatest athlete, and Sumit Until, India's greatest para-athlete, ever on the same panel. You will see that here in the Trailblazers Conclave, in the panel Decoding the Champion Mindset. So that's what we try to do. We try to speak about empowerment. We try to speak about physical literacy. We try to speak about health. For instance, today after the opening panel, I have my panel which will talk about health issues. And I don't know in how many other, such conclaves you go beyond stars and you have an athlete, for instance, like a Rani Rampal or an Anju Bobby George sitting here and speaking about issues like when you're about to go into a big tournament and you've started your menstrual cycle, how do you deal with that? How do you talk to your coach? How do you prepare your body for that? What if your performance dips? How do you answer to the media for that? So those are the kind of issues that we talk about in the Trailblazers Conclave. It's not only about the glitz and glamour, it's about what matters. It's about what builds. It's about what builds up from the grassroots right up to the podium. So as I've said already, and as I believe truly, Trailblazers is named Trailblazers because it truly blazes the trail. So welcome everyone to the Tata Steel Trailblazers 4.0. Do stay in for as many of the sessions as you can because you will, there's going to be a lot of takeaways. Please do soak in. It's going to be extremely enriching. And again, thank you to all our sponsors, partners, investors, friends, all of you who have stayed with this journey of Rev Sports. Thank you very much for being here today.
No conclave of this scale, of this stature, of this caliber can be possible without support. Our visionary title sponsor, Tata Steel, I don't call them sponsors anymore. We kind of co-create this conclave with practically all our partners, I'll read out the sponsor role, but that's for later. He's played sport. Over the last 1 year or so, we've become friends. We exchange messages at about, 6:30 in the morning, Sundar? 6:30 in the morning? 6:30 in the morning when he perhaps goes for his golf. I'm an early person and we start exchanging messages. Can we do this? Can we do that? But that's the kind of warmth, support, collaboration that we have from Tata Steel. Ladies and gentlemen, DB Sundararamam, Vice President and Head of Corporate Services for Tata Steel, one of my biggest backers. Put your hands together. Without their support, this is not possible.
Thank you, Sarmishta and Buria, for context setting. Good morning, everybody. So in India and also abroad, there are many sports which have been associated with Tata Steel or Tata Group. So though I have mentioned this in a smaller group on 14th, I would like to repeat some of these things, how and why Tata Steel is associated with sports. I think it's 1901 or 1902. There was a discussion on putting up a steel plant in India, because that was the first time India started putting up a steel plant, because every one of us we knew were fighting for our independence. But there was one man who wanted India to be independent and India to be a force when the industrial revolution starts. That was Mr. J.N. Tata. So finally, 3 sites were chosen. One was Gadchiroli. Today we talk about Gadchiroli, the progressive Vidarbha and all that. That time he saw these mines and the availability of coal, and he wrote a letter to British Raj saying that only the rail connectivity of that time we call Bengal-Nagpur railways was not up to the mine site. If you could provide that, this area could become into a big mining and steel hub. Unfortunately, the then British Raj didn't respond. Then he again went to Delhi Rajara, where the Bhilai steel plant is today. The third choice has been, thanks to the legend P.N. Bose, the first head of Geological Survey of India and the first geologist of India. He wrote a letter saying that here is a place called Sakchi in the eastern part of India, where you have iron ore mines, coal mines, and water, Swarnrekha, Kharkai. You have plenty of water. Why don't you put up mine here, a plant here? Thus, Mr. J.N. Tata has decided, and he asked Sir Dorabji Tata to put up a plant there. Unfortunately, Mr. J.N. Tata was not alive to see the plant. But in archives, there was one letter written to him saying that it's not only plant which was my dream, it was also a township that should be model township. And also he has clearly mentioned that he should have space for children to play, and he has mentioned hockey and football incidentally, that you should have enough space to have. The other day also I was mentioning, incidentally, cricket didn't come to his mind that time. So that has been the legacy of Tatas at a group level as well as at a steel level. And to corroborate, his son has definitely put up a steel plant which is now called Jamshedpur Town and Tata Nagar Railway Station, to commemorate the contributions of both J.N. Tata as well as Sir Dorabji Tata. Incidentally, Sir Dorabji Tata not only put his best efforts to get in the steel plant, he has also tried to promote sports. In 1920, our first chairman, Dorabji Tata, financed India's first Olympic team to Antwerp, Belgium in 1920. The company has contributed to the development of some of India's most accomplished athletes through its sports, academies and training centers from then. So this is the context why Tata Steel is associated with sports and also this new experiment called Trailblazers 4.0. So once again, good morning, esteemed dignitaries, colleagues and media members. Welcome to the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. Sharmishta, Boria and Rev Sports have created this outstanding platform. Your commitment and efforts are highly admirable. Since its debut in 2023, the Trailblazers Conclave has seen significant growth. The past 3 editions brought together India's top sports figures and key stakeholders from the wider sports ecosystem who have contributed to the development and dialogue in sports. Sports are also a masterclass for corporate life, teaching us so many invaluable lessons that we can directly apply to our personal journeys. I think we had almost 15 minutes discussion with I had with Boria how sports can be brought to the boardroom as well. Just like on field, the corporate world, working together, trusting each other, and communicating effectively are the cornerstones of success. Every athlete faces setbacks, losses, or unexpected challenges, and learning to bounce back, learn from mistakes, and adapt to changing situations is a superpower in the corporate world too. The 2 examples of cricket which you see, Rishabh Pant, the other day we were having that panel discussion with the doctor. First time the doctor saw him, he asked, when can I come to the field? And whereas his mother asked, can my son walk? And all of us seen that he has come back to representing India in cricket. So that's what how people bounce back from hardships and challenges. And the recent one was Sanju. You have seen the first 3-4 matches he couldn't play, and there was a lot of criticism. And then finally he came back with vengeance, and we got T20 World Cup. That was a recent story of Sanju Samson. So generally, when we discuss about sports, my boss, Mr. T.V. Narendran, he always says, it's very difficult to have a leadership in sports because when a managing director or a chairman of a group, it takes a decision, it is not going to be criticized by his predecessors or anyone. But in cricket or for that matter, any sport, the captain takes a decision. In the evening, the past captains and all, they start analyzing the decision, whether it was right, wrong. So though it's a bit easy to analyze post facto, but yes, it is being done. Still, people have to take decisions on the ground instantaneously, and they have to prove that their decisions were right. Sometimes it could go wrong also, but most of the times you have seen that people who have been successful, their decisions were always right. In the previous years, we have had honor of seeing and hearing from Abhinav Bindra, Pulela Gopichand, Manu Bhaker, D. Gukesh, Saurav Ganguly, Venkatesh Iyer, Mahesh Bhupati, Nikhar Jarin, Anju Bobby George. She is presently here. Welcome. Sumit Antil, Suhas Etiraj, P.R. Srijesh and Harmanpreet Singh, members of the Olympic medal winning Indian hockey team, and the unbelievable Payal Nag, amongst others. This year, we expect more such exciting interactions. When Mr. Boria Majumdar was setting the context on 14th, and also along with him, some other people also told that sports is all about motivating people through success stories and storytelling. So let me tell you the storytelling about Tata Steel's contribution to Indian sports. It's a matter of great pride that among us these champions, we have got 12 Padma Shri, 1 Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, 6 Dronacharya awardees, 42 Arjuna awardees, and 1 Dhyan Chand Lifetime Achievement awardees of Tata Steel. If you see the current players who are associated with Tata Steel, Ankita Bhagat became the first Indian woman archer to be crowned Asian Championship. And Adhiraj Mitra, a trainee at the chess training center of JRD Tata Sports Complex, won the Commonwealth Chess Championship 2025 under 14 category. So these are the people who motivate others to get into sports. Also, Tata Steel teams now participate in 2 professional leagues. Jamshedpur FC plays in the Indian Super League, and only last year we launched Chero Archers team in the inaugural Archery Premier League. I would just like to take 1 minute to explain Chero Archers. We wanted to give a name to the archery team. Generally, we have been told that either you are associated with either Tata or Jamshedpur, whatever you do. So this time, my colleague Mukul Chaudhary, he is sitting in front of me. We decided that we should have some other name. So when we Googled, we came to know Chero. Chero is the dynasty of Palamu. Palamu district of Jharkhand. They had almost 300 years they ruled the parts of Jharkhand, UP, and then Bihar. And even they were invincible by Mughals. But finally, they got defeated by British. That was a different story. So that was the dynasty of Chero. So we took the name of Chero for the archery league, which have first completed the first year of Premier League. We also actively engage our community through a variety of sporting events, including runs, marathons, sports camp climbing, chess tournaments, promotion of tribal sports, and summer camps for children. So apart from Tata IPL, which has been whether it's IPL for men or women, we have the major sponsors as a group. But you find Tata Steel's contribution and interest more in other sports than cricket. Because we have found that wherever we are operating our remote mines, remote townships and all, we found that hockey has been a very good interest for the local, both men and women, and also football. So that's the reason why we have invested more in that. So we have got a hockey academy, Naval Tata Hockey Academy, we have got football academy, we have archery academy, we have got athletics also, we promote. So we organize 2 international tournaments also, because now Tata Steel's vision is also changed. Though we say that we also make tomorrow, we have another catch line saying that one vision, one Tata Steel. Because Tata Steel also has footprint, apart from India, almost 100 nations where we have got our downstream facilities, our customers, our plants. So taking that into cue, we said it's one vision and one Tata Steel. We organized 2 international chess tournaments. The Tata Steel Chess India, Kolkata is the host for that every time, and the Tata Steel Chess Tournament at Wisk and G, the Netherlands. The latter is also known as Wimbledon of chess and has been running for nearly 9 decades, more than 90 years. To foster a culture of health and well-being and bring professional runners and running enthusiasts together, we organize runs and marathons across our locations. In India, we have Tata Steel Kolkata World 25K Run, Tata Steel Jamshedpur Half Marathon, Kapilash Half Marathon in Odisha in the district of Dhenkanal, and Joda Navamundi Runathon, both in the states of Odisha as well as Jharkhand. In the UK, we organize the Tata Steel Langley Half Marathon and 10K, and the Tata Kids of Steel Triathlon, and sponsor the Richard Burton 10K race. And in Netherlands, the Tata Steel Mercury Loop Run is organized in Hamster. So these are some of the runs, because we not only sports, we also believe in the initiatives of health. We remain committed to promoting and developing a diverse range of sports disciplines across India, from grassroots to professional levels. I am proud to share that so far our sports program has trained over 4,300 children across Jharkhand, Odisha, and West Bengal through its 94 football centers, 14 archery centers, 7 hockey centers, 11 athletics centers, and 4 volleyball centers. In Jamshedpur and Jaspur, nearly 1,000 young athletes train each day at our climbing and rowing centers as well. So the Naval Tata Hockey Academy trains 5,000 plus young persons in Odisha and Jharkhand. In Odisha, in each district, we have got a coaching center for hockey. Numerous athletes trained in our academies and training centers from small towns have represented Jharkhand and Odisha at state and national championships. Sandhya Kumari, so now I am coming to the storytelling. Once a school girl from Jamadoba, now represents Jharkhand in the under-19 Women's National Football Championship. Samir Murmu, who joined a football grassroots center in 2012, is today a professional player with Jamshedpur FC and a member of the Indian Army senior football team. His 10-goal performance in the Santosh Trophy earned him a place in the under-23 national camp, turning him into a role model for countless young athletes from the local communities. Baset Hansda trained through our Jingpani cross centers. Jingpani is an area in the district of Chaibasa. Chaibasa is one of the oldest districts of the then Bihar and Bengal province. He was selected by Tata Football Academy and trained with Atletico Madrid in Spain. Today he coaches the next generation footballers. A defining feature of our sports program is its inclusivity. Tribal sports such as Sekor and Kati. People who have not heard this, you can just Google that. These are the tribal sports which we encourage and we nurture alongside mainstream games, preserving cultural identity while installing pride and discipline. Children with disabilities are not left behind. With special abilities, our centers prepare differently abled athletes to compete at Para-Olympics level, which Boria has also mentioned in his contest setting on 14th. With Jharkhand special athletes representing India at the World Summer Games in Berlin and at National Para-Athletics Championships in Pune. The Jamshedpur Football Club, which engages around 1,500 cadets, received the Best Grassroots Program Award from the Indian Super League for its efforts to build a solid football foundation through inclusive initiatives. We also won the Legacy of Sports Excellence and Patronage Award at the CAA Sports Business Awards 2025. So, as I mentioned, we take sports as a community connect across all our locations. We are honored to sponsor the 4th edition of Trailblazers. This conclave, with its inspiring narratives of resilience, perseverance, diversity, provides a powerful example for aspiring athletes and corporates alike. This time, we look forward to seeing and hearing from Nikat Jarin, Haribhajan Singh, Jahir Khan, Akash Chopra, Saurav Ganguly, Venkatesh Prasad, Anju Bobby George, Mithali Raj, Jhulan Goswami, among others. As Trailblazers 4.0 will be celebrating World Cup victories and deliberating on shaping India's sporting future, I wish this conference great success. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you very much, Sundar. Thank you very much. I just want to acknowledge the presence of a couple of people, and then, as I said, they'll speak as the day goes along. I want to acknowledge the presence of my friend Atul Srivastav, Iram Kidwai, and people from Aegis Federal, are powered by partners. I want to acknowledge the presence of Grishma Singh, again, a very dear friend of mine from Coca-Cola and Thumbs Up India. They've been very, very strong supporters of mine, and we will hear from them as the day goes along. I want to just get going with the next panel, because the first panel, we are a little late. So we just want to make up time, and I'll tell you why, because Neeraj Chopra will be joining us from South Africa ahead of training. So I just want to keep to time so that Neeraj joins exactly on the time that we've promised him. That's why sort of cutting down a little bit on the inaugural so that we can get going. 1 minute to me. You know, all of us have passports, right? We do. I was at a passport office. I was at a passport office in 2023 January. And now you have to carry your mark sheet to get your passport renewed. And I wasn't carrying my bachelor's and master's mark sheets with me. So they were kind enough to get me a seat to sit. And they said, you can send somebody and get the mark sheets. So I requested one of my colleagues to kind of go and get my mark sheet from home. And as I was sitting there, I had nothing to do, because you can't make phone calls from the passport office from where I was asked to sit. So I started thinking to a conversation I had 2 days before that with a couple of athletes, and they said, India had won X number of medals, you know, in the Para Games, in the Asian Games. The athletes don't talk to each other. They don't talk to each other. And from there I came out, and in my mind I was thinking there is no forum in India where multi-sport talk happens. And people who know me will know. I mean, once that Kida starts going, I will keep at it. So I came out of the passport office, which is 10 minutes from here, next to Ruby Hospital. And I called 3 people. I called Pulela Gopichand, And I said, 8th of March, you got to come to Calcutta. We are doing this conclave. There was no conclave. So Gopi said, what is this? I said, conclave. He said, what conclave? I said, some conclave, but it's a conclave. So we didn't have a name. We didn't have anything. Gopi was the first call. Abhinav was the second call. And Anju was the third call. As luck would have it, all three of them said, yes, we'll come. I straight turned the car, came to ITC, and I said, do you have and it was ITC Royal Bengal, do you have the banquet available? They said, yes. I said, block it for 8th March. They said, what do you want to do? I said, block it, block all. I went home, I told Shormishta, we are doing a conclave. She freaked out. She said, what conclave? I said, it's a conclave. The next call was to TV Narendra, and I said, sir, I need half an hour today. He said, I've got packed day of meetings. I said, sir, half an hour. Me and Persistence are bedfellows. He said, okay, 1 o'clock to 1:30 is your time. He said, what do you want? If you want to talk cricket, I'm not interested. I said, sir, Olympic and Paralympic sport, conclave, you got to back it. And he said, when is this? I said, 8th of March. He said, Olympics, Paralympics, exact conversation. And I said, yes. He said, how much money do you want? I said, I don't know. He said, go do it. The next call was to Sanket Ray from the Coca-Cola company. And the third call was to AGS Federal. They were on board. The conclave was on. That's how Trailblazers was born. The point is, as we get to the first session, you've got to do it. Just do it. Don't keep coming and telling me it can't happen. In Indian sport, there's no money. There is no infrastructure. There is no facility. You go to Jamaica, and you will see half the countries on drugs. There is a Usain Bolt, there is a Nesta Carter, there is a Michael Frater, there is a Nasafa Powell. Look at the number of Olympic gold medals that they win. No infrastructure. Zeal. Just do it, damn it, do it. So that's the whole point. If you want to do something, just do it. Thanks to all our partners, all our colleagues here, we will do it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for some very special people. One of my dearest friends, like I said, the greatest coach, the greatest that India will produce, the greatest, absolutely the greatest badminton player that India has seen, will see, one of my dearest friends. Welcome on stage. Put your hands together, Pullela Gopichand. You know, 1 week before, an athletics championship, and you know what athletics championship? Aap kahin bhi baith jaiye. So 1 week before, in 2003, and 2003 India and current India is not the same. Huh? She was told she has 1 kidney. Half of us would have freaked out and said, to hell with this competition, I'm going home. And she wasn't well. She and her husband decided, so what? We will compete. And the first ever Indian woman to win a world championship medal in long jump with 6.83 meters. Put your hands together for Anju Bobby George. Some weeks back, I don't know how many of you followed. India won the major event in squash, the World Cup, and beat multiple teams which were above us. Hong Kong players, for example. 2028, squash is part of the Olympic Games. There is a revolution underway. Saurav Ghoshal has come to this conclave. Joshna Chinnappa has come to this conclave in the past. She is the flag bearer. People talk age in sport. Age is just a number. It is talent, potential, sports science, determination, resilience, commitment, and zeal. Put your hands together for Joshna Chinnappa. We met in Dubai, and I said to him at a board meeting, in fact, they'd asked me to come and do a leadership talk. And I said to him, look, I know you're an absolute ardent sports fan. I know you follow the Chennai Super Kings. I know you do all of that. But can you back our women's cricket coverage? And he said, women's cricket. I said, yes. Not one further argument. He said, how much money do you want? We will not just back the WPL coverage, we will back the women's cricket coverage right through the year. And by that time, none of us knew that they will go on to win the World Cup. So this is not about afterthought, this was pre-thought. Put your hands together for N. Muthukumar. As the head of Olam, Olam is one of our major partners. Muthu has been a great supporter. And to do this panel, two of my colleagues, Ashok and I have planned many ventures together, including launching the Star Bangla Sports Channel and multiple channels together when he was part of Star Sports and thereafter Z Business. One of the most distinguished media professionals that one can come across, a broadcast champion. Put your hands together for Ashok Nambudri. And if I have to say someone who is one of the most improved in recent times as a young journalist, you see her every day in Rev Sports, mostly Rev Sports English. Put your hands together for Gargi Raut. Over to both of them.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Trailblazers 4.0. We're your first panel of the day, and we're here to talk about the fact that in today's world, sport is more than just medals and podiums. Nations are looking at sport increasingly as an instrument of diplomacy. And for a country like India with growing Olympic ambitions, the conversation naturally veers into beyond performance and into infrastructural development, athlete development, corporate support, and the broader theme of sport as soft power. And to expand on these ideas, we have this extraordinary panel with us. I'll start with you, Gopi, and I'm going to ask you from your perspective, when we talk about India's realistic Olympic ambition, what does it look like for you in the next decade?
Yeah, thank you very much. For me, I think the last 15, 16 years of Indian sport have been phenomenal. From the fact, I would say, beginning with the Commonwealth Games in 2010, and the last 10, 12 years, the Prime Minister's personal interest in sport has ensured that Olympic sport has actually come to a stage where we as a nation dream of hosting, dream of winning medals, have a target for our Olympics 10 years later. I think that's something which is phenomenal, which wasn't the case for many, many years. And today when we look at sport and our aspirations and the world outside, and pride is an important thing. And I go back to what our Prime Minister had said, when after the 2014 Commonwealth Games, when the entire team was there, he said for any nation, community, or race to move forward, pride is an important thing. And each win of ours at the international stage brings that very pride to us, which is very important for our development in general. So I think that is where my entire mindset and focus would be, that India as a nation needs sport for us to be up there aspiring, to look at a world, to look at like the Sunday when we won, the next day morning or that night, everybody in the country was happy. I think to have that kind of a feeling and bringing it to work, bringing it to school, I think is an important thing for us to moving forward. And I think it's important that sport is looked at from that perspective. It's very important. The second thing is, today, especially with the digital age, I think we are going to have more and more challenges with young kids participating in physical activity and adults looking at even simple things like getting few steps out from home. So physical activity becomes fundamentally very, very important for our physical health, mental health, decision making. So all of these things which are very fundamental to growth of a human individual or a potential, I think are there in sport. So sport is going to be important. Our Olympic aspirations, we will host the Olympics. If we get to host the Olympics, we'll host it. I don't have any doubt in my mind that we will host it very well. I think our challenge remains on how well our preparation could be, how well consistently over the next 10 years, change what might, happen at various levels in government or in the federations or whatever. But the core philosophy that athletes should be identified and trained, and that should be consistent, and the policy should be consistent. Those things I think are very, very important for us moving forward.
Great. Joshna, this question is for you. It's a perfectly opportune time now that squash is coming back into the Olympics in LA 2028. My question is, when you look at benchmarks, should we just look at medals alone, or should we look at increased participation across sports? Should we look at grassroots development, long-term athlete development? What should be the right benchmark when it comes to Olympics?
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, of course, it's so exciting that squash is finally in the Olympics. And this has been a culmination for the last few decades to get squash actually there. And in the meantime, before we even had the opportunity to get into the Olympics, all of us had to, keep playing on the professional tour, make sure we win our medals at the Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, and things like that to really get support as well for a game like squash. And then, of course, eventually we did get that support. But initially, it was honestly just us, hustling and, trying to find sponsors and really go at this on our own till we actually started getting that support. And the difference it made, honestly, to our performance. And we kind of got it a little later on in our careers. So I would say if we can support these kids from the time they're really young, from the grassroots level, introduce them to, top quality coaches, training centers, diet, nutrition, everything. Because we have so much talent and abundance in our country, and I think they just need to be supported and guided the right way from the time they're really young. Because if you're looking at winning a medal at the Olympics, which is probably the toughest platform to win a medal, consistency is the key. And for that, you need to start early on and really look at all aspects as opposed to just trying to win a medal, because the medal will come if the the work is put in, the infrastructure. I mean, infrastructure is there, but just the support of nurturing these young kids to win these medals.
Building up on that, Anju, historically, the kind of medals that India has had in the Olympic Games, it's been because of individual brilliance rather than a deeply structured system. What needs to change for India to increase that Olympic pipeline and getting those medals that are manufactured because of a structure and not because of individual brilliance?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Boria-ji. This Trailblazer, now it's became a meeting place for all of us, and thank you once again. Yes, of course, when it comes to Olympics, we are always counting medal, and unfortunately, India, we are getting very less medals. But the thing is that when we were athletes, it was like individual efforts. See, nobody was there to support like now. Now it's a complete structured system from the grassroots level. Every individual, every kid is getting that support. We can see that the infrastructure developed a lot, and the supporting system developed a lot, and we are planning for it and we are grabbing it. I think you all know that Kiran sir always telling that how we got medal in Olympics 2002. It was all planned. Sindhu was not well, Mirabai Chanu was not well. So actually the government personally took interest, and for Sindhu I think they have got some extra equipment for her treatment to India. And for Mirabai, during that COVID time, he sent to Mirabai to America for the treatment. So individually designed medals we got. So at the same time, the grassroots development, we are putting a lot of effort. But one thing we should always clear that whether it is reaching up to the mark. The infrastructure what we are talking, we don't need multiple like big stadiums. We need small training places, small synthetic tracks, maybe 200 in a school, or 400 actually in a bigger college or bigger venues. But for the training, we need small places, and coach development, it's very important actually. That also actually we are taking care now. We all were in the Mission Olympic Cell committee and we know how the system was working now. But I am extremely proud to say that during those days, nothing was there, but still we could grab some medals from the world stage and Olympics. Yeah, we are dreaming about 2036 Olympics. So, as he said, the Prime Minister's dream to become the best of 6 in the world when we organize the Olympics in India. And for that, actually, more competitions we are trying to bring. We are actually planning for even the World Athletic Championships, World Indoor Championships, Commonwealth Games ahead of that. So the preparation is going well, but as he said, Olympics is something different. Winning a medal in Olympics, we cannot just go and grab it, or we cannot just say and get it. It's a little difficult because the entire world is gearing for it, and especially in athletics, we have to compete with 210 countries or more. It's one toughest actually. So, but I guess we are in the right track, and we can achieve it.
Great. So let's switch tracks. Mr. Muthukumar, you've lived and worked across the world, various countries, and interacted with a lot of brands and corporates. This question is when it comes to brands supporting sports, how do we look at it from short-term sponsorships moving to long-term partnerships? How do we enable that process?
So good morning all, and thank you, Ashok, for that. So many of you may be wondering what is Olam Agri. So Agri, all of us can understand, agriculture. What is Olam? Olam is a Hebrew word which means transcending borders, omnipresent and worldwide. So we represent the world. India, as the oldest civilization in the world, always wanted to be representing the whole world. So I take pride in saying that the word catchphrase Olam also will mean and resonate that India takes on the world. So when Boria asked me in Dubai that will you be able to support women's cricket, women's playing, I said yes in a minute, because as Olam we truly believe in DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. So, and that is something, not a catchphrase, that is something we truly believe in. And the moment Boria asked, will you support? I said yes, because we have men's cricket, and I think it will be talked about very frequently in the rest of the 2 days, but that has got enough and more sponsorship. But we do not have support and sponsorship for women's cricket and Paralympics. And that is something we believe, and I believe, that we should definitely support in India. We are the largest population in the world, 1.4 billion people. And if we do not have the largest number of medals in sports, and that's a shame. So we have made big strides in ensuring that we are improving in where we are, but I think we have to need a transformation. And whatever little as a corporate, as Olam Agri we can do, we want to catalyze. And one Olam Agri cannot make this transformation. Possibly, like Tata Steel, like other corporate sponsorship, we believe that this can be a catalyst for us to ensure that more and more corporates come in and make it something structural, like what Gargi said. It is not about individual brilliance, it is about making, like China, a structural transformation that will ensure that we are truly a superpower in sports. Thank you.
Moving on to the conversation of sport as a soft power, coming back to you, Gopi, when we talk about countries like Japan, South Korea, China, their global identity has been shaped by sporting success. And do you think when it comes to India, with sustained Olympic success, it can happen for India as well?
I think sport changes a lot of things, and in this new world, I think it's supremely important that human performance and human excellence at an individual level, at a community level, at a country level, actually take precedence. And what I would mean is good food, good thought, good sleep, good movement. I think these are fundamental things wherein we might end up winning, say we won about 6 or 7 medals, but we might end up winning 40 medals or 50 medals hopefully in the future. But then what happens is, for that 50 to happen, the trickle-down effect is that every kid in school, every kid who's growing up is actually participating in sport. And whether they are successful in the sport or not in winning medals, they're actually going out there and being the best versions of what they can be in whatever field they take up. And that is what is the new India. An India where everyone is aspiring, everybody is thinking smart, everybody is working hard, everybody's bodies are not getting tired, and they're able to make decisions quickly and smartly. I think that's the India which will come up. So when sporting success happens, or if sporting success has to happen, it cannot happen in isolation with the 50 people who are training. It actually has to come down to about 50 lakh people, kids actually training at school levels. So that transformation is what will actually make India, whether it's the Vikasit Bharat or whether it's the self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think the slogans will only come true when you actually have kids who are out there, who are playing, who are moving well, who are thinking smart, who are eating right, who are sleeping on time. So these are fundamental things for human performance, and this is across the board. It has nothing to do with sport in person, but everybody gets that foundation at a grassroots level. This is going to happen, and otherwise it's not going to happen. So for us to win those 50 medals, you have to trickle down. It has to go to our urban cities, it has to go to our rural towns, it has to go to the interiors where the talent is. Because as Anju said, we are not going to win medals just like that. It's not going to happen. The world stage is not easy, and you have countries fighting for those medals. So we need to dig deep, and when we dig deep, we dip wide as well and deep as well. And each kid is going to be affected, and that's what's going to help India become the power which we talk about.
That's quite fascinating, Gopi. I'm going to kind of mix this up a little bit and actually ask Anju. You know, I'm sure Joshna is waiting for the question from me, but I'm going to ask Anju. Anju, you've had an outstanding career, and now you're into sports administration. Over the decades, you know, when athletes, Indian athletes walk into the Olympic village, their belief and confidence, is there a change? Has that undergone a transformation? Do you see that?
Yes, of course. I can tell you, maybe 20 years back, when I was competing, I was almost alone there in the international arena. And I think I was like a different type of athlete. Whenever the competition spirit goes up or the toughness goes up, I used to take out my best in that competition. That's how it should be. But most of my fellow athletes had to say that whenever they go for any international tournaments, their performance used to come down, and I was wondering why it is. Maybe it was just because they were not getting enough exposure, or they were not having any good support from a coach like Bobby, who was always motivating me and always actually doing all the homework for me. Actually, that is also very important. Before going for any major championships, we have to understand how our opponents are going to do their performance during that competitions. We need to analyze each and every one. Bobby used to actually analyze even the coach's expression also, and he used to tell me like, this coach is little, he is not that happy because I guess his athlete is not that great today. So it's easy for me, and during long jump there will be like 50-55 athletes in the first round, and only 12 will be in the finals. So we cannot watch everybody how much they are doing. So he will just round some figures and maybe 6, 7, and he will tell only, you just check only these 6 athletes, they will be in the finals, and you also will be there in the finals. So he was doing half of my work. I think most of the athletes were not having that type of support, but our Indian athletes now it's changed a lot, even their attitude, because they are getting chance to compete with the elite athletes. They are training in USA, wherever they want. International coaches are coming to India, and the exposure, it's like changing everything. And their mindset also. You can see that if you look at that World Championship, our 400 meter relay team, how they were competing with the USA and other top level athletes, countries. So our mindset changed a lot. See, whenever you are in that track, the expectations what we are carrying, and our expectation about ourselves, see, it's a big task. If you ask any of our athletes, they will tell. See, we have to, like, in athletics, we are competing for just 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, or fraction of seconds. And see, it's in another country, different type of food, different type of culture, different type of atmosphere, but still you have to be at your peak. It's a big task. It's not that easy. And I think we are equipped for that, and our Indian athletes are getting that much exposure, calculated support from every corner. But the main thing, the changes should happen from the family. Each parent should think whether they have to send their kid for sports. It's not like for winning medal, but just to get that feeling, to get that feeling that how our body can, whether it's able to do, or just we can, experience or enjoy that, or if we are talented, then go and do it. So that family, father or mother should take that decision about their kids. Then only the things will change.
Joshna, I'll come over to you now. Because Gopi spoke about the fact that it all starts at the grassroots, and finally with squash being introduced in the Olympics, do you see an entire new generation of athletes, especially in India, picking up squash? Did you ever think that it was going down, that the popularity of the sport, kids not wanting to pick up the sport? Will it all change now?
Firstly, I love how Gopi sir broke it down so simple, where it was really about movement, good food, sleep, and actually having that in your day-to-day growing up. And I think the awareness is probably a little bit more now than it was, when I was starting out, because when I started out, it was more for fun, and then, you kind of figure it out along the way. But today, of course, there's so much more support. Our Honorable Prime Minister has been very supportive of sport as well. And the number of resources that are there now at the grassroots level has increased a lot over the last few years. And a game like squash, initially a lot of kids who played kind of used it as a platform to go abroad to study to America, because they have a big squash program there, and fair enough, because it's not easy going professional in any sport, let alone a sport like squash, where the rewards are not as much as probably another sport. But now today, with the kind of support that we are being given, I see a lot more kids on the professional tour now from India who want to play for India, who want to win medals at the Commonwealth, Asian Games, and of course the Olympics now as well. And that has been a huge motivating factor for a lot of kids taking up squash as well right now. So it really still remains to be seen when they're like 15, 16, what they choose to do, because that's the age where they decide whether they're going to pursue college or just stay back in India and just play the professional tour. But absolutely, things have changed so much for the better, especially from when I started, and even in the last 4 or 5 years. Like, there's been a huge boost for sports, squash as well. The kind of support that's come in for a lot of my teammates from the corporates, from the central government, from our state government has been absolutely fantastic. And I think if we continue on that path, we're going to have many, many more players on the professional tour.
Okay. Muthu, I want to ask you this question about sport as a soft power, strategically speaking. It's always been there. 1968 Olympics, no one can forget Tommy Smith and John Carlos with that salute that they did. And to the Black Lives Matter, which is there currently. From a corporate perspective, though, how do you see this emanating, in the sense that how does one look at it from a corporate perspective with regard to sport as a soft power, which can then go on to enhance the nation's brand image?
So first of all, I just want to acknowledge, thank you all of you being here, and I'm happy to be with all these luminaries, sports luminaries here. So when we took a decision to sponsor, right? So my whole family and from my organization, people have come from China, have come Dubai, from Singapore, and the whole family is here. So look at the linkage that we are creating in terms of one sponsorship, creating so many touch points, in terms of having interest in how do we support sport as a nation, right? So that is where I believe that truly a soft power, as we call, is there. So I come from Singapore. Even though I'm a proud Indian, I'm nowadays a Singaporean. So we are a small nation, but we are very, very proud that we will support every initiative that will get us as Singapore an Olympic medal. The whole nation is geared in trying to do the sport infrastructure to ensure that we get more and more Olympic medals. That's one example. The second is, as Olam Agri, we are going to be now majority owned by Saudi Arabia. So we are going to be a Saudi company. And you would have seen in the last 3 years how Saudi Arabia as a country has been supporting sport and ensuring, whether it is Live Golf, whether it is Lionel Messi coming into Saudi Arabia and living. That's the power that I'm talking about. So it is not about a concept. It is already being done very clearly and in a focused manner by countries who want to be seen in the world as a shaker and mover. So we believe that corporates not only provide support, but also it is a great visibility. You can have 100 billboards, TV ads, social media talking about what Olam Agri is doing, for example. But this kind of a sponsorship will touch people in a form and fashion that is not structured. So you will get to see Olam Agri, for example, in many, many, many places where common man will see. So what more do you want? And that is exactly the soft power we are talking about. And people have a brand recall. People look at it with fondness. People look at it with admiration. And that is something which all of us have to replicate. So it is not something that we are doing as charity. It is something that we are doing it in a very, very focused manner, which will determine that India as a country will not only be a soft power, will be a hard power.
All right, so that brings us to the end of this panel. I think we live in very interesting times. For decades, India has been celebrating individual athletes who have done well. We are now talking, with this panel, we've talked about systems, pathways, sporting culture, and I think that augurs very well for the future of India when it comes to the Olympics and beyond. Gargi and I would like to thank all our panelists. Thank you for that enriching discussion.
Hello, check. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the first panel of the day 2 of the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. May I request Mr. D.B. Sundaramam, Vice President, Corporate Services, Tata Steel, to come up on stage for the felicitation, along with Grishma Singh, Vice President, Marketing, India and Southwest Asia Coca-Cola Company. May I have you on stage, please, Grishma ma'am, and we have Sundar Ramam with us. Can you have the gifts, please, for the felicitation of our esteemed panel? Grishma ma'am, may we have you on stage, please? Yes, thank you so much. And we'll all pose for a photo op. Once we're done with the felicitation, we'll just go up on front.